talk with Carrie? Okay. All right. Thank you. You ready? Who's at that? Deborah Gray and who else? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Griffin.
Here.
Bishop. Conwell. Gray. Hairston. Harsh. House Jones. Jones. Casey. Kelly. Moorer. McCormack. Polensik. Santana. Slife. Spencer. Starr. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll make the following statement. This meeting of Cleveland City Council is a lawful meeting under Section 605.04 of the Codified Ordinances. No person with purpose to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting shall do any act which obstructs or interferes with the due conduct of such meeting. Members of the public are invited to speak only under the rules set by this council. Disruptions, including but not limited to speaking out of turn and making loud noises and loud utterances, are in violation of these rules and interfere with the due conduct of this lawful meeting. Such disruptions may constitute a misdemeanor and a violation of Section 605.04. Anyone who disrupts this lawful meeting in violation of the codified ordinances commits misdemeanors and is subject to prosecution. The following is the first and only warning. If this meeting is disrupted, I will gavel a halt to the proceedings and direct the assembled officers to escort any person participating in the disruption out of the chamber. Once persons participating in the disruption are outside the chambers, the officers will close the doors and the disruptors will be handled as directed by the Director of Public Safety. The council proceedings will not begin again until those that participated in the disruption have left the chamber and the chamber doors are closed. Disruptors will not be allowed back in the chamber after the meeting resumes. Again, this is the first and only warning. Madam Clerk, please dispense with the journal.
By Councilmember Santana, that the reading of the minutes of the last meeting be dispensed with the journal approved. Seconded by Councilmember Gray.
Thank you. We'll now move to the public comment portion of council, and I will ask all of the council members to turn around and acknowledge the speakers, and I'd ask all of the speakers to acknowledge your time. When you see the yellow light, that means wrap it up. When you see the red, that means that you abruptly have to stop. Madam Clerk, the first person that we have up is Kristen Fugazi from Cleveland Heights, opposing a new city flag, representing no one and not being paid by anyone. Kristen, you have the floor.
City Council unanimously adopted the flag of Cleveland on October 21st, 1895. Today, this flag is worn on every police officer's shoulder and featured on department vehicles. My great-grandmother, Susan Hepburn Beach, designed this flag and was known as Cleveland's Betsy Ross. Interesting fact, she was a cousin of the late feminist film icon, Katharine Hepburn. The Plain Dealer in 1895 launched a contest to design a city flag to celebrate Cleveland's 100th birthday. My great-grandmother, then 18 years old, won, beating out 24 male finalists. Designs were judged by a distinguished panel chaired by artist A.M. Willard, painter of the national treasure, Spirit of 76. Robert Beach, a young reporter from the Plain Dealer, was assigned to deliver Susan her contest prize of $50 silver. During that visit, their romance began. They married in 1896 and moved to East 89th Street, where they lived for 60 years and raised 4 children. Their home was in now what is Ward 7. Shout out to Councilwoman House Jones. The flag features 3 vertical sections of red, white, and blue with a shield in the middle. In the shield are symbols representing manufacturing and shipping. Manufacturing today in Cleveland is responsible for 300,000 jobs. The Port of Cleveland is the largest port on the Great Lakes. Marine interests in our port generate 22,000 jobs and create $4.7 billion in annual income. Now, 129 years later, a group has approached you about a design contest they are holding to generate public interest and replace our current flag or create a people's flag as a unifying symbol. Instead of more thoroughly researching the rich history of the current flag, they reached out to a small sample group and decided our current flag is unattractive and outdated. This process seems to me like a solution in search of a problem. Paraphrasing the brilliant Jay-Z, I'm sure this city has 99 problems, but I assure you this flag ain't one. History, has anyone done a cost analysis and considered the taxpayer's expense of retrofitting a new flag? History is valuable and meaningful. I hope this council would agree. Cleveland's official flag symbolizes the history and industries that built this city and are thriving today. I urge you all to join me in helping educate Clevelanders about our current flag. Right now, the flags of Cleveland, the United States, and the Ohio flag fly together over Progressive Field. The next time you are at East 9th and Carnegie, I hope you'll notice how beautifully these designs fit together.
Thank you.
I left you all with a more detailed statement.
Next, we have Ronaldo Rodriguez Jr., Ward 3, elimination of planned park on West 26th Street, not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Is Ronaldo Rodriguez Jr. here?
Hello. Thank you for allowing me to address you today. My name is Ronaldo Rodriguez, Jr., and I'm a resident on Cleveland's Near West Side. I'm here today to speak about Metro Health's sudden and unexpected decision to break their promise of creating a hospital in a park. For several years now, the community has endured construction while being told by hospital officials that once the Glick Center was completed, the existing outpatient plaza would be demolished and replaced by a new park on West 25th Street. The planned park would be the largest green space in the Clark-Fulton neighborhood, where 1 in 5 children suffer from asthma. Meanwhile, city data shows that the tree canopy of Clark-Fulton has decreased by nearly 20% over the past 10 years. Thank you, Mayor Bibb, for the open data portal. I was 9 years old the first time I visited Metro Health. My mom had been life-flighted there while giving birth to my baby brother. I still recall the terror I felt that day. And it wasn't because my mother was in the hospital. It was the hospital itself that struck fear into my heart. The outpatient plaza, outfitted with bars on the ground level, sends a virtual keep-out signal to the community. In an area encircled by highways and heavy industry, Clark-Fulton desperately needs this park, as approved by the Cleveland City Planning Commission. Metro Health's abrupt decision to remove the park without consulting neighborhood residents or stakeholders after years of extensive planning efforts adds to a long list of broken promises to my community by institutions and officials. I'm here today asking you to use your voice to urge Metro Health as a public hospital to keep their promises. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Sabrina Otis. Sabrina Otis is from Cleveland. She's here to talk about council's role in making Cleveland better. She is not representing anyone, and she is not being paid by anyone. Ms. Otis, you have the floor.
Good evening, Council President, councilmen and women, Mayor Bibbs, and administrators. Today, I got a couple things to get off my chest. First, I want to point out something to you all. A lot of council persons have become politicians. They become very dishonest to their residents, and it's harmful and hurtful when truth isn't told. For instance, them speed tables y'all like to talk about, that was me. 2018, I started asking the city for it. No one's ever acknowledged it was me. It was me. I got the emails, I got the documentation to prove it. But that's what we as citizens in Cleveland do. We go and we bother you all with ideals and things that will make the city better. We may not get the credit for it, but it does benefit the city. So that brings me to making the city better. When we talk about school levies, you all are going to get together and figure out if you guys are going to support CMSD with a school levy. I'm a resident, don't do that. Don't do it because as a resident with kids in the school, and that's something a lot of y'all don't have, kids in CMSD. I do. And because we have kids in the schools, we recognize the good and the bad of the district, just like any other city. All the cities have good and bad. You guys have allowed the city to, in the CMSD, to build all these buildings. Where are the students? Where are the kids? Families are moving into Cleveland, they're giving birth. You know where those kids are going to? The private schools, the Catholic schools, and the charter schools. They're not going to CMSD. Did you look at the graduating rate this year for CMSD? My kids graduated in Atlanta, I'm proud. They graduated outside of Orlando, I'm proud. You know what their classes were? 500 plus kids per high school. Look at your buildings, look at your high school. Yes, you guys have the Say Yes program and kids are being shipped in, but they're not our kids. See, all your good programs are going to kids who don't live in Cleveland. You have a small segment that get into the programs, but a huge of them don't because our kids aren't taught the way other communities are. My kids had an upper hand because I'm that mama, and I'm gonna stay on them, and I'm gonna teach them what the schools don't teach. But CMSD is losing students because it doesn't have the same equality in educating the kids, and it has to start when they're little. See, little kids supposed to sit down and be quiet. If you have good parenting, your kids know how to do it. We had a lot of kids who can't even sit and focus, and it may not be their parents' fault, but when they're in that school building, something needs to happen. Lastly, last time I was here, a council person said something to the equivalence that we kind of complain. We're not complaining to y'all. You are the advocates of the wards. That's your role. You were voted in to represent the people of your wards. We want y'all to represent us. And you may not like what we want to support, but pretend like you like it. Act like what we want, you want to. You may not want to. You may go home and scream. Anyway, have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Otis. Next, we have Brenda Bickerstaff. Brenda Bickerstaff is from Cleveland. She's here to talk about city council influence, and she is not being paid by anyone and not being represented, not representing anyone. Ms. Bickerstaff.
Good evening. How's everybody this evening? Thank you. Okay, Council President, I want to ask a question. Mr. Houston was on the list for public speaking, and they didn't put him on there. I sent it with my email, and several times I did that before. I add other people, and they did add him on the list, and the officer showed me that he wasn't on the list to speak.
We'll show a clerical. I don't know. We have a system, so we'll look at it.
So could he speak tonight?
Right now, we have you on. We'll have somebody talk to him about how he gets on, but you have the floor right now.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Okay, good evening. I want to direct this. First, I want to talk about politics and friends. Sometimes that just don't mix. And Mayor Bibb, I want to thank you for getting ready to McHugh as quick as you did. Thank you so very much. I am so happy about that. So now I want to move on to this. I want to move on to Casey and Polensik. Polensik, you've been in this seat for 40 years. And in the 40 years that you've been in this seat, you know that the consent decree, the Department of Justice has been here several times and made recommendations to the police department. So what I would like to know from you, you're asking about all the money that's being spent through the monitor. You're always picking with the monitor all the time. I want to know, what have you said to council, or what have you said to the Cleveland police so they can get themselves together so the consent decree can leave? I know some of you guys don't want me to answer to say these things, but I got to say it because I'm a black woman with a black son who had a black brother that was killed by the police. So I have to say this. So I really would like for you to answer that question. I know you can't answer now, Mr. Polensik. You're not even looking at me. So in any other words, you're flipping the bird at me, and I feel disrespected. And I want to know, your 40 years of being in this seat with a problem with the Cleveland Police Department, what influences or information you have given to the police department about their behavior when the Department of Justice told them several times to correct this problem before we even got a judge. I don't know if you guys even knew that. So I would like that question to be answered. So is he allowed to answer that question now?
No, ma'am.
He had to answer it to me later. So I'm making a record that I asked Polensik this question on today's date, June 3rd, 2024 at 7:49 p.m. I want that question answered. Since he's asking questions about the monitor, I want to know about his background because I will start digging. Thank you.
Next, we have Brent Eisenbach. Brent Eisenbach is from Ward 15, and Brent is here to talk about downgrade of Cudell Park and New Parks master plan, and he is not representing anyone. He's not being paid by anyone. Is Brent Eisenbach here? Brent Eisenbach.
I know Casey think it's funny.
Brent Eisenbach.
I want to see,
Thank you.
see how he acted somebody killed when the police killed somebody in his face.
Mr. Eisenbach, please proceed.
Black cop killed somebody in his face.
Mr. Eisenbach, please proceed.
Good evening, everybody. I'll take a brief moment tonight. Again, missing Little League. Interestingly, tonight, Little League practice had to be canceled, or I should say evacuated, because shots fired in the area of Roberto Clemente Park. That's pretty disturbing that I wasn't there with my family. At any point, I'd like to take a moment to thank CEO Warren Morgan and Mayor Justin Bibb and all the other administrators, Councilman Spencer, for the hard work put in for the decision to pause construction at New Marion Seltzer School. Whatever the ultimate deciding factors were, I believe that this is a good course of action, and it'll allow CMSD to find feasible alternatives to building a much-needed school while also preserving Cudell Park as a vital neighborhood green space. Such a compromise is going to honor the legacy of Frank Cudell and also the spirit of Tamir Rice. However, let's not use this period of a pause to waste time. Let's be productive. Let's meet during this period to get on the ground and create some solutions here. In 1954, a fire station was proposed at Cudell Park. After a groundswell of community opposition, Mayor Calabrese altered the plans, and the station was then built on Madison Avenue. In recent memory, the city sought to demolish the gazebo where Tamir Rice was killed. It ultimately had to be moved to Chicago to be properly preserved. In 2021, the administration labeled Cudell Park as surplus property and traded away 2.17 acres on the eastern portion of the park for development interest in Detroit's Shoreway. And as if this was all not bad enough, this current administration continues the long-sought effort to wipe out Cudell Park. Why is the city so intent on seeing this park erased? This latest effort comes in the form of a recently published City Parks Master Plan. The new master plan seeks to categorize Cudell Park as a special facility. The given definition of a special facility is a unique center, usually oriented to a single purpose use. They can vary greatly in size, hours of operation, and staffing. That's from the master plan's website. Well, the City Department of Parks website currently lists the following amenities at Cudell Commons and the Fine Arts Center: 2 full-size basketball courts, which are currently owned by CMSD. Thankfully, they're safe for the moment. A playground, which is in very poor condition, also currently owned by CMSD. Acknowledging that the school plans are on pause, the latest edition of the Marion Seltzer plan did not have the city replacing that park. They instead relied on the children being able to use the school's facilities as a playground there. They have a baseball field, a practice soccer field and football field, a recreation center, the Fine Arts Center, of course, and also, strangely, the website lists that there's a shelter. This is the same shelter that's been moved to Chicago, so perhaps an update of the website is in order. This varied list certainly seems like it's more than just a single-use purpose, though, and all of this is really troubling. It seems to point to a future where the city's careless planning becomes all too real of a disinvestment in a neighborhood park and green space.
Time. Thank you, sir. Next, we have Diab Dar Issa, Ward 11, working with the city planning and urban forestry to ensure a natural environment for our communities.
Hello, Council. I just want to start off my speech by saying on days like today, well, it kind of cooled down, but the past few weeks, these unseasonably warm and humid days, I am grateful for tree canopies. My name is Diab. I live in the West Boulevard neighborhood of Cleveland, and I'm here to stress the importance of protecting our parks, our green spaces, and yes, our century trees and our tree canopies that these provide. It's no secret in today's world, we have an epidemic of running out of third places. We have an administration that does pride themselves on sustainability, and I would say to your credit that is something I would recognize as well. We are also a Tree City USA. As an urban planning student at CSU, right down the street here, it was through my urban planning class and a research project on local issues that introduced me to Save Cudell Park and meeting all the great people you see behind me and getting to meet Ms. Rice. In short, this space was intended to be used as a park in perpetuity forever. And for the record, yes, these children do deserve a new school. All the kids in Cleveland do. But I want to make sure that we are continuing to work with CMSD to make sure we can also honor the park, which is also on those grounds as well. With the news and the pause, I definitely did want to take a moment to thank everybody taking us seriously and working with us and ensuring that we have a configuration that's going to keep the park, Tamir Rice's memorial, the landmarks such as the clock tower, and of course the trees, but the park as a whole and all Cleveland parks. I want Cudell Park to serve as a beacon for all of our parks. And I want to make sure they don't fall subject to what we're dealing with today. I want to keep them intact, uninterrupted, and unobstructed, just like I would like to see Tamir Rice's memorial, unobstructed and still open to all members of the public. In closing, nature and these trees, while not on CMSD's payroll, are also some of the greatest teachers that these students will have. And these teachers are going to outlive all of us in this room. And that park should as well. And to Mr. Bibb, I was an election worker in November 21. I watched my phone, constantly pulling myself away, watching to make sure you did win your mayoral election. And I'm hoping that you do work with us, CMSD and Save Cudell Park, and you do the same, and you're rooting for us in our corner. I also want to make sure that with Amari and C. Seltzer School, that the kids have an updated campus and a park that they can continue to enjoy for decades to come. I thank you all for your time, and thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Next, we have Jamie Brazier. Jamie Brazier is from Cleveland to talk about Marion Seltzer School, representing no one and not being paid by anyone.
And my name still is Jamie Brazier. Good evening, Mayor Bibb and Council. Mayor Bibb, first I want to say a big thank you for putting a pause on the new construction design of Marion Seltzer Elementary School. But putting a pause doesn't mean, as Axios News Media erroneously published, that I, the stakeholders, or the Friends of Cudell Commons Park are now in favor of any new or proposed school tax levies. That is yet to be determined. Our approval would be contingent on whether we, the stakeholders, agree on a new redesign that satisfies us, as well as Samaria Rice, who is here tonight advocating for protection of the Tamir Rice Memorial, which is located in the Cudell Commons Park. A new school, whether on current footprint or on the parkland going east and west between West 98th Street and West Boulevard, should be a redesign that stakeholders are involved in creating, not a behind-the-doors design presented to the public, ignoring any feedback, which has happened over the past year and a half. The redesign should show special attention regarding to the Tamir Rice Memorial, the Cudell Clock Tower, and Cudell Park Commons. In no way should the memorials be hidden or enclosed by a building, shrubbery, or trees. As part of the redesign package, legislation should be created for the eternal protection of the Tamir Rice Memorial, the Cudell Clock Tower, and Cudell Park. Then and only then, when everyone involved in the design process are satisfied with the overall plan, we would gladly approve a much-needed school levy. Lastly, to add an additional good deed to your legacy, Mayor Bibb, how about renaming Marion Seltzer School the Tamir E. Rice Elementary School?
Next, we have Michael Armstrong. Michael Armstrong is from Ward 15. Michael is here to talk about the city's new foreign-based code and is a scheme for both responsible and favors outside investors.
Thank you. I know it's been a long day. I'm here to ask you to send your 200-plus page form-based code pilot experiment back to committee. I reside in the Cudell neighborhood where $500,000 was spent on legal fees against residents like me who wanted to keep Cudell Park, and now this faulty code is being imposed on us. This code also applies to Detroit Avenue, where between West Boulevard and West 73rd, except for one parcel on Detroit, the city's Watterson Lake parcel, a parcel the city received trading away Cudell Park. If this code is so great, why exclude that parcel? Spot zoning, perhaps? Council members not from my ward are sponsoring this legislation to change the maps in my Cudell neighborhood. My council person says it's too difficult to change them now. Since when did this become the practice? Most of my street consists of single family and duplex. It's being upzoned to H4 fourplex with larger building footprints to increase density. This is an upzoning scheme for investors to also easily subdivide homes into H4 fourplexes, make a quick profit, and leave. 100 feet away from my home, on my street, the new NX3 will add commercial uses by right, like a hotel, bar, or restaurant, for example, taking away our residential street. You probably read the planning director's correspondence to you pitching this, quoting President Biden's recent NLC speech, where he said, the bottom line is we have to build, build, build. That's how we bring housing costs down for good. The planning director then said, this form-based code pilot will do just that, producing more housing and a more diverse housing supply. By the way, President Biden was not speaking about a form-based code or zoning, but it seems the planning department's theory is to build, build, build. Investments will bring housing prices down for good. Create more housing in Cudell, and housing prices will drop forever. Really? Cleveland's Housing Equity Plan 2030 says otherwise, quote, increased property values and rents resulting from new investments can increase housing costs for incumbent households. If FBC is about the benefits of build, build, build investments, how do the increased cost pressures from this not lead to the displacement of economically vulnerable households? My council person says the benefits outweigh the costs. I say of what? The costs of displacement, higher taxes, forcing out renters. Where's the cost-benefit analysis with the net benefits figure that justifies the costs being imposed on residents of doing this pilot experiment? There is none. This code needs to go back to committee. Thank you.
Next, we have Tamir Rice, and she is here to talk about saving Cudell Park, representing the Tamir Rice Foundation and not being paid by anyone. Mrs. Rice.
Hello, Council. Mayor Bibb, how are you? What I want to say, I'm going to talk to you all as a mother today, okay? I will encourage City Council, Mayor Bibb, administration, if you all can reverse the land swap back. The park is such important to me because that's the last memory that I have of my son. And I would like it to remain a park forever, along with the protection of the memorial to stay as is forever. Like, that's just his legacy, and it's very important to me to have the park and the memorial, everything to just stay at one. I'm not saying that the kids don't need a new school. They do need a new school. As one of the other advocates said, east to west of East 99th and 100th Street is plenty of area to build over there. Also, or could build on the existing site as it is. I just don't want to continue to keep fighting. I want this to be the bridge, and let's start building it together. As you all know, this is his 10th anniversary. I haven't had much support from the city, and I'm not gonna ask for it all the time, but in this situation, I will hope that y'all can influence the CMSD school along with Mayor Bibb to do the reverse swap. And I know I talked to you, Council President, about it weeks and weeks ago. And I know that this was here in the last administration, right? I understand that, but some of you all knew about it, right? Some of you all knew about this land swap and things like that. So I want you all to be mindful how important it is to me and to the fans and family of Cudell that it stays as is. Keep in mind that election year is coming up, and you all see this memento. You know, I don't want to have to continue to show you the power that I have. I don't want to fight with y'all. I just want to be able to live at peace and get along and start building and making sure that you all are being accountable for being our president, city wards, council ward leaders at the end of the day. I'm very overwhelmed, I'm very stressed out, and I don't want to have to be in these streets fighting you all. I want to encourage you all to help me build Tamir's legacy and to do what we need you to do in each community and each ward. You know, our wards look terrible across the nation, across the whole east side and the west side. We want to be able to live good as well too. So I just want to encourage you all to support us in how we can support you all. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Fauzi Badur from Ward 11 to talk about the Cudell Community Park. He is not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Fauzi.
Good evening, Council President, Mayor Bibb. Mayor Bibb, I always knew that you have the vision, the heart, the will, and the determination. And I knew at one point they will come out in a form of right decision. We met last week. We had 15 minutes chat with you. There is 3 points registered in my mind. I'd like to remind you of them in this chamber. One, you said that you agreed with Michael White's statement once that Cleveland parks are not for sale. Second, and I didn't mention it to Ms. Rice, she's heard it from me now, that you said that you dearly care about Tamir Rice Memorial in the park. Third, you said to us that you like to work with our organization to reach a solution to preserve the park and build the school. For that, we're ready. When you're ready, I know you're willing. We're willing. And we have the right ideas. We have good ideas. And we're not backing up. We want to preserve the park, and we need to build the school. We like to have it as the best school. We're with you. And I know you are. the other thing now. You created this mess in the first place, Council. 2 weeks ago, yes, President, 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that we celebrate the birthday of Frank Cudell. 2 weeks from now, we're going to celebrate the birthday of Tamir Rice. See, those two souls, separated by 158 years of age, separated by 40 days of death date, separated by 27 days of birth date, and less than 100 foot separate their memorial in the Cudell Park, that straight line. Had this project went through, it would have buried their souls under your land swap vote. What we need now, we need to get back that land to the city ownership, to the Cudell Park land. And we're going to work to have it a landmark, to declare as landmark, so no one like Frank Jackson comes again and sell that park or any other park. Cleveland parks are not for sale. Thank you.
That ends public comment. Madam Clerk, please share the communications.
File number 661, 2024, from Mayor Justin M. Bibb, appointments to Fair Employment Wage Board. From the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, file number 657, 2024, regarding a transfer of location application at 2417 Professor Avenue, Ward 3. File number 658, 2024, regarding a transfer of location application at 3575 West 117th Street, Ward 11. File number 659, 2024, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 14302 Puritas Avenue, Ward 16. File number 660, 2024, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 14801 Puritas Avenue, Ward 16.
Are there any condolence resolutions?
Resolutions of condolence by Councilmember Conwell for Michael Yates, by Councilmember Griffin for Rose Thomas, by Councilmember Griffin for Janelle Haynes Perry, by Councilmember Hairston for Joyce M. Jackson, by Councilmember Jones for Corrine Kavanaugh, by Councilmember McCormack for James C. O'Connor, by Councilmember Spencer for Antonio Ruggiero.
Are there any other condolence resolutions? Seeing no other condolence resolutions, we'll all... Oh, Councilwoman House Jones. Councilwoman House Jones.
Thank you. If you can hold out a number for Lucille Morton. Lucille Morton.
So noted.
Councilman Hairston.
Number 4, Joyce Davis, the sister of Judge Jeff Johnson.
Thank you. Are there any other condolence resolutions? Will all council members rise for a moment of silence? Thank you. Are there any congratulatory resolutions?
Resolutions of congratulations, all members of council for Kathy Allen, by Councilmember Jones for Reverend Emmett Theophilus Cavanis, by Councilmember Kelly for Karen Brigadam, by Councilmember Kelly for Brian P. O'Donnell, by Councilmember Kelly for John Stikovich, by Councilmember Kelly for Cleveland Division of Fire, Engine 33, by Councilmember Kelly for Cleveland Division of Fire, Engine 38, by Councilmember Kelly for Cleveland Division of Fire, Engine 39, by Councilmember Kelly, Cleveland Division of Fire, Ladder 4, by Councilmember Kelly, Cleveland Division of Fire, Ladder 23, by Councilmember Kelly, Cleveland Division of Fire, Technical Rescue Number 2. By Councilmember Kelly for Cleveland Division of Fire, Battalion 3. By Councilmember Kelly for Cleveland Division of Fire, AC-1. By Councilmember Polensek for Laura Robinson. By Councilmember Spencer for the Great Lakes Towing Company and Great Lakes Shipyard on their 125th anniversary. Resolutions of recognition by Councilmember Conwell for Morel McCain, by Councilmember Conwell for the Beth El African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. Resolutions of commemoration by Councilmember Jones for Lois Swanson.
Thank you. We will now move to presentations, and I know that Councilman Kelly has a presentation, Councilwoman Gray, and Councilman Conwell. I'll bring up Councilman Conwell first, if you could come on up.
This presentation is historical. Councilmember Mike Pulisic, you're a part of Glenville. You always mention that. And Councilmember Anthony Harrison, can you guys move up front? For the mighty, mighty home of the mighty, mighty Tar Blooders. Is Rob Ward here also? Where you at? Well, come on up front with me. You guys, move forward. This is a great, great day. There's a young lady, that Morel McCain, do you hear? Let's give it up for her. Okay, someone open the door for this young lady. Can you bring your mother up here, as well as the other person with you? She's going to Paris for the Olympics, man. She was, ta-da, ta-da, drum roll. Where your mother at?
I told her to come on.
Come on up. Mother and daughter bonding, mother and family together. Come on up. And your driver, come on. This young lady, she graduated from Glenville High School, and she always thought about going to, guess what? The Olympics. She will be the first, with passion, she will be the first female to represent the city of Cleveland in the Olympics. In the Olympics. She will be going to Paris, France. She will be going to Paris, France, and all the little girls and all the females from the city of Cleveland. Oh, the women group. Oh, yeah, House Jones, you guys come on up. Yeah, look, God just told me, bring you up. And Santana, Jenny, Spencer, come on up, Rebecca. You know, you guys have a women group and women commission and council president and the mayor. You guys are pushing the women commission. She will be the first one. She was at the city club. And she will be the first female to go to Paris, France, to go to an Olympics, boxing. Again. Boxing. She will be there. And I'm going to yield to her. She's from the home. She's from the home also of the mighty. That's right, mighty. Tar Blooders, but she is representing Cleveland and all the women, Deborah Gray. And they are so happy. And so, any of you guys, Jones, you want to say some, House Jones? Yeah.
No, just congratulations and represent like only Cleveland can do. Congratulations.
I like that. St. Clair to Paris. From Cleveland to Paris. Anyone else? Because you guys with the women group and everything. Do what you do, congratulations. Mike Pulisic, you're Glenville. Anthony Harrison, you're Glenville also. You're from here. Let me hear to you, top bloodder.
Hi everybody. I just want to say thank you for having me. I've never been to a city council meeting. It's really intense. I'll be back. I am a product of Cleveland. I am a product of these recreation centers. I started at the Glenville Recreation Center boxing. I started in the back room at the Glenville Recreation Center, and if I know if it wasn't there, I wouldn't be here representing my country in Paris. So I just want to say to all the people that came out, keep representing for Cleveland because your voices matter. And to the council people and to the mayor, thank you. Thank you because, like I said, I am a product of these programs that we need. And thank you for all the congratulations, guys. I will be representing and somebody will be getting beat up. Thank you. And it's not going to be me. Not me.
Hey, Louis, let's get together, take a picture, but we don't want to be a statue real quick.
Get in here, man.
Get in, brother, get in. Do what you do.
Nope. I don't want to. Move the mic out the way. How's that? Sorry to block you.
While Councilman Conwell is getting his money shot, can we make sure that we tee up Councilman Danny Kelly has a presentation. So Councilman Danny Kelly, if he could join me up front. Councilman Danny Kelly. Thank you. I'll ask Councilman Kelly to bring up his guests, and then if we could open up the council
Brother
chambers.
Stick, the firemen, your family, please all come up here.
Come on up.
Come on up.
Please open up the door for him. Yeah, if you want to. He always makes his mind up if he wants to.
Brother Mayor, would you join us, please?
Okay. How you doing today? Good, sir. Good to see you. Good, good. How are you today? Good to see you. Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey, folks, we're here tonight to celebrate heroism. For everybody out there and for all my comrades, union sisters and brothers of City Council, on a daily basis, we get to see the worst in human beings. There's carjackings, there's calls at 10 to 3 in the morning because of shootings. But on occasions, we get to acknowledge the best in a human being, and that's what we're here to do tonight. There was an incident where there was a fire, and John Stickovich, actually we're both members of Local 310. We call them Stick at 310. I work with them. Was driving around, saw smoke, careened around, went to the house, saw a young woman sitting on the driveway with a child, said, "Are you okay? Can I help?" She said, "My baby's in there." "Your baby's here." He said, "I have another baby in there." He tried to get in the front of the house. The fire was too hot, the front door. He went to the side door, kicked it in. It was too hot, couldn't go in. He went to the back door, crawled in, crawled around on his belly looking for the baby, and couldn't find the baby. Come back out, ran out and talked to the mother and said, "Where is it? Give me something." She was by a baby gate in the kitchen. He crawled back in. Smoke was getting overwhelming. He heard a noise. He said, "Danny, I put my hand out, and a foot in front of me was a little 11-month-old baby girl." So he got that baby girl and got that baby girl out of the house safe. Now, that was a tremendous act of heroism, and not only was that act of heroism, it was what we call in a firefighter's business, it was a Mayday. The commander of Firehouse 33 said in 31 years he had never heard a Mayday. When they call Mayday, that means everybody drop what you're doing and come running, firemen in danger. The fireman that went running into the front part of the house, the porch collapsed, he fell through the porch, and then the roof fell on him. Now, this young man had two 15-month-old newborns at home, or babies. John rescued an 11-month-old baby. The mother and the other child got out. John was safe. The firemen were safe. If you don't think angels were about, you're not thinking. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and present this resolution. And John, a resolution isn't just a lot of whereases and words. Your great-grandchildren 30 years from now can look you up in the city of Cleveland, and you'll be there. You're in the annals of history. And everybody in Cleveland wants to thank you for your kind deed and act of heroism. Thank you.
John, on behalf of the members of the Cleveland Fire Department and myself, we'd also like to thank you from a different perspective. When my coworkers pull up on a scene and we hear reports of people trapped in a building, we take some incredible risks and we go into high gear. When those reports involve children, we take some really incredible risks. And your actions that day not only saved an 11-month-old child, you minimized the risk that we face. So I want to thank you.
It was a good day, you know. That mother didn't have to mourn her children. That baby gets to live. She had her first birthday, June 1st. I talked to the mother. She was very happy. I'm happy. And, you know, the situation was all good. Awesome. You know.
Yeah, it's good, man. Congratulations. Manhood, fatherhood.
While Councilman Kelly's guest, Mr. Stikovich, is taking his seat, I would like to bring up Councilwoman Deborah Gray, and I believe she has a guest that is going to join us at the rostrum as well. Councilwoman Gray, could we please open up the well for our guests? If you could come in right here, we'll open up the well for you right here. Thank you.
While everybody's coming up, I want to recognize Global Cleveland. Joe, are you coming up? Okay. All right. Global Cleveland. Evan, come on up. And also, I will introduce Tanya a little later. I want to introduce Global Cleveland first. Well, this is a story. Last year, this young lady, Tanya, I met her in Ward 4. She has her own toy business right in Ward 4. She took over the toy business from another young man, and Kevin, is Kevin still here?
Kevin's right there.
Okay. That I brought Kevin to the store. So, so she took over the store, and as I met her, she done great things with the store. But in the midst of it, she called me a little later and told me that her son, she wanted him to, she wanted to bring him, to the United States, and she didn't know how. I didn't either. So then I thought about Joe, Global Cleveland, and I called up Joe. Joe said, Councilwoman, we will take care of it. Then, almost 2 months later, Joe called and said, we got the son, we bought the son in the United States. So that was just miraculous. I had no idea how fast Global Cleveland, worked. So then after her son came in, then she said that she wanted to go into, she wanted to incorporate her business as a business, not as a mom and stop store, like a mom and pop store. She wanted to actually, build it out. So then I introduced her to Kevin, and I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. And this is Evan from Global Cleveland. Him and his team, was the one that brought her in. So I want to give him applause for that. And then after that, I introduced Tanya to Kevin. And then Kevin sat down with her the last couple of months. And then she got the loan/grant, for her store. And now she's going to able, to build it out. So I just want to present everyone. I want to present Global Cleveland as a resolution, for doing a great job for, for bringing her family into town. So thank you, Evan. Give you recognition. Thank you. And this is to your whole team that you, worked with Tanya. And also, I want to give a recognition to Tanya of accepting the application and the grant through, through economic development. So thank you, Tanya.
Thank you, Council. I just want to thank Councilwoman Gray for her trust in coming to us with this, and to the Council for their wider collaboration and all of the work that we do together between Global Cleveland and the city to welcome newcomers in our community, be it the retention of the 3rd Refugee Resettlement Agency in our region, Maydugan, which brings in over 500 refugees every year, be it our work to establish the County Welcoming Center for newcomers, which is processing benefits faster, connecting people to healthcare faster, and in our collaboration in upskilling and helping immigrants of all skill levels, of all educations and backgrounds, access employment easier, and to an extent that's more of their capacity and their desire to contribute. I look forward to this gentleman's 5-year anniversary in the country, to his eventual citizenship of the United States, and for Global Cleveland to be one of the first to congratulate him as he crosses the stage at the federal courthouse. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You want to say something?
Yeah. I want to say a big thank you to, I call her my mommy, because she could feel my pain when I needed that help. And she could just see it from just the text message. I just broke down in my text message, and she sent me back. She said, I could see the cry of a mother from you. And she took me up. And today, my son, he's here to stay with me. And again, she was able to help me. While I was struggling with my business, I knew I can do something good, but I didn't have the fund. And she said, I'm going to help you. That was how she introduced me to Kelvin. And now I'm now a business lady with an LLC, and I'm going to do more for the city of Buckeye. Let's watch me.
City of Buckeye.
Congratulations. All right, Madam Clerk, you're back up. First reading, emergency ordinances referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 612, 2024 by council members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Works to execute a deed of permanent easement and 2 deeds of temporary easement granting to the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District certain easement rights at several city-owned properties located along Belvoir Boulevard with the sewer district's 9 Mile Creek debris rack project. Ordinance 613, 2024 by council members Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Community Development and the Commissioner of Purchases and Supplies to enter into one or more agreements with Land Assembly for Neighborhood Development or its designee, providing for an option to purchase and sale of city-owned property, and to enter into one or more agreements with STA Realty and Land Assembly on their successors and assigns, providing for the purchase of certain real properties. Ordinance 614, 2024 by Councilmember Kelly, authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a grant agreement with Variety Properties to provide economic development assistance to partially finance costs associated with renovating the vacant Variety Theater building. Ordinance 623, 2024 by Councilmembers Conwell and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Health to apply for and accept a grant from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for BioWatch program, and authorizing the Director to enter into various written standard and purchase requirement contracts for courier services needed to transport BioWatch samples. Ordinance 624, 2024, by Councilmembers Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more agreements with CHN Housing Partners to administer energy, water, and sewer conservation services to low-income homeowners for the divisions of water, water pollution control, and Cleveland Public Power, Department of Public Utilities for a period or periods not to exceed 1 year. Ordinance 625, 2024, by Councilmembers McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to exercise the first option to renew a contract with Aircraft Services International for professional services to manage and operate an airport-owned fuel storage and distribution facility. Ordinance 626, 2024, by Councilmembers Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more contracts without competitive bidding with Motorola Solutions for continued support and maintenance of the Motorola 800 megahertz Project 25 radio system, including but not limited to the purchase or rental of replacement or upgraded radio system equipment. Ordinance 627, 2024, by Councilmembers McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to lease certain office space located at Burke Lakefront Airport to conduct business as an architectural and engineering firm for a term of 1 year with 3 one-year options to renew. Ordinance 628, 2024, by Councilmembers Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more requirement contracts without competitive bidding with Hatch Company for laboratory services and chemicals needed for the proprietary equipment manufactured by the Hatch Company. Ordinance 629, 2024, by Councilmembers McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to make alterations and modifications in a contract with Avair Pros for improving the inline baggage handling system at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. Ordinance 630, 2024, by Councilmembers Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to enter into one or more mutual aid agreements with the cities of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Chicago, Illinois, for additional law enforcement services for aid and assistance and accept reimbursement for such services in connection with the Republican National Convention and Democratic National Convention being held in Milwaukee and in Chicago, along with associated events and activities on days before and after the dates of the convention. Ordinance 632, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request to make additional appropriations of $24,200,000 to the general fund. Ordinance 633, 2024, by Councilmembers Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Works to enter into a license agreement with a vendor to install and maintain an automated teller machine terminal located in room 122, Vital Statistics, for the use and convenience of the general public. Ordinance 634, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Human Resources to employ one or more professional consultants to provide the professional services necessary to design, develop, and deliver a comprehensive training program for the developmental staff, for the departmental staff performing human resources functions. Ordinance 637, 2024, by Councilmembers, by Councilmembers Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Community Development to enter into an agreement with the Cleveland Housing Investment Fund to provide development assistance to provide partial funding for the Cleveland Housing Investment Fund. Ordinance 638, 2024, by Councilmember McCormack, to supplement the codified ordinances by amending Section 34106 of the codified ordinances related to local design review advisory committees and by enacting a new Section 161.031 related to the local landmarks advisory committee. Ordinance 639, 2024, by Councilmember Moore, to amend the title in Chapter 352 and Section 352.0 352.01 of the codified ordinances and to supplement the codified ordinances by enacting new section 352.13 relating to lighting requirements for outdoor parking lots. Ordinance 640, 2024 by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to enter into various contracts for the Law Enforcement Records Management System, the Computer-Aided Dispatch System, the Officer Intervention Program, and to enter into various other contracts to implement the ordinance. Ordinance 641, 2024 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of designing and constructing or constructing, rehabilitating, renovating, replacing, or otherwise improving cemeteries, including site improvements and appurtenances, and the West Park Cemetery Gatehouse, authorizing the Director of Public Works or Capital Projects as appropriate to enter into one or more public improvement contracts for the making of the improvements, enter into one or more professional services and other contracts needed to implement the improvement, to apply for and accept grants and gifts, and authorizing the direct employment of necessary labor. Ordinance 642, 2024 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of designing and constructing or constructing, rehabilitating, renovating, replacing, or otherwise improving public facilities, buildings, and other similar structures, including site improvements and appurtenances, authorizing Director of Public Works or Capital Projects as appropriate to enter into one or more public improvement contracts for the making of the improvements, enter into one or more professional services and other contracts needed to implement the improvement, to apply for and accept gifts and grants, and authorizing the direct employment of necessary labor. Ordinance 643, 2024 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of designing and constructing, rehabilitating, renovating, replacing, or otherwise improving recreation facilities, ancillary recreation buildings, parks and playgrounds, and other similar structures or amenities on city-owned and city-leased park property, including site improvements and appurtenances, authorizing Director of Public Works or Capital Projects as appropriate to enter into one or more public improvement contracts for the making of the improvements, enter into one or more professional services and other contracts needed to implement the improvement, to apply for and accept gifts and grants, and authorize the direct employment of necessary labor. Ordinance 644, 2024 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of designing and constructing or constructing, rehabilitating, renovating, replacing, or otherwise improving roadways, streets, bridges, sidewalks, and other similar projects, including site improvements and appurtenances, and authorizing the Director of Public Works or Capital Projects as appropriate to enter into one or more public improvement contracts for the making of the improvements, enter into one or more professional services for other contracts needed to implement the improvement, to apply for and accept gifts and grants, authorizing direct employment of necessary labor. Ordinance 645, 2024 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Capital Projects to enter into one or more professional consultants necessary for the Dominion East Ohio Gas Pipeline Infrastructure Replacement Program for a period of 1 year with 4 one-year options to renew. Ordinance 646, 2024 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of constructing capital repairs and capital improvements to the municipally owned facility located at 100 Alfred Lerner Way, authorizing one or more public improvement contracts for the making of the improvement, and professional services to design or in the alternative to reimburse or accept the gift of design and other services for the Cleveland Browns Stadium. Ordinance 662, 2024 by Council Member Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $1,250,000 for the purpose of providing funds to improve municipal cemetery facilities, building structures, and grounds. Ordinance 663, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amounts of $11 million for the purpose of providing funds to acquire heavy-duty trucks and equipment for performing functions for the city's Department of Public Works and Department of Public Safety. Ordinance 664, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $5 million for the purpose of providing funds to acquire vehicles and equipment for performing functions of the city's departments, including the Department of Public Works and Department of Public Safety. Ordinance 665, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $9,250,000 for the purpose of providing funds to improve municipal parks and recreation facilities. Ordinance 666, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $15 million for the purpose of providing funds to improve buildings and structures and providing for the discharge of governmental functions and services otherwise benefiting the public safety, health, and welfare for the provision of necessary fixtures, furnishings, equipment, technology, appurtenances, utilities, and site improvements. Ordinance 667, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $26 million for the purpose of providing funds to improve the municipal street system and related facilities.
Thank you. First reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 615, 2024, by Councilmembers Griffin and Starr, to supplement the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio by amending Section 110.02 related to limitations on campaign contributions. Ordinance 616, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 27 of Ordinance 194, 2021, as amended related to salaries for various classifications. Ordinance 617, 2024, by Councilmember McCormack, designating West 31st Place with a secondary and honorary designation of George Herbig Way. Ordinance 618, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin, authorizing the Clerk of Council to enter into agreement with St. Martin de Porres High School to participate as a sponsor of students for work-study positions with Cleveland City Council. Ordinance 631, 2024, by Councilmembers Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation for the Safety Intervention Grant Program, authorizing the Director to enter into various written standard purchase and requirement contracts for various types of safety equipment, supplies, and services. Ordinance 635, 2024, by Councilmembers Gray, Hairston, and Griffin, authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a forgivable loan agreement with Burton Bell Car Development or its designee to provide economic development assistance to partially finance hard and soft costs associated with the Buckeye Road Commercial Corridor Revitalization and Stabilization Initiative. Ordinance 636, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 2 of Ordinance 664, 2022, relating to Community-Based Violence Intervention and Prevention Initiative, Cleveland Project Thrive Program. Ordinance 647, 2024, by Councilmembers Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Works to enter into an agreement with Cleveland Cavaliers to permit and accept improvements to public auditorium for the Cleveland Charge, an affiliate of the Cleveland Cavaliers, to conduct and host league basketball games and to lease areas in public auditorium. Ordinance 648, 2024, by Councilmember House Jones, authorizing the Director of Department of Community Development to enter into agreement with Midtown Cleveland for the office communication project through the use of Ward 7 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 649, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin, authorizing the Director of Department of Community Development to enter into agreement with the Diversity Institute, Cleveland State University for Project 400 Conference through the use of Ward 6 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 650, 2024, by Councilmember Starr, authorizing the Director of Department of Public Works to enter into agreement with Impact Youth Incorporated for the Revolutionary Minds Summer League Youth Basketball Program through the use of Wards 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, and 17 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 651, 2024, by Councilmembers McCormack, Harrison, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Directors of Economic Development and Finance to enter into a job creation income tax credit incentive program agreement with James B. Oswald Company to facilitate the purpose and provisions of this ordinance, and authorizing the Director to enter into a grant agreement to provide economic development assistance to partially finance building renovations located at 950 Main Avenue. Ordinance 652, 2024, by Councilmember Casey, authorizing the Director of Department of Community Development to enter into agreement with Jefferson Puritas West Park Development Corporation for the purpose of providing Ward 16 code enforcement program through the use of Ward 16 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 653, 2024, by Councilmember Conwell, authorizing the Director of Department of Community Development to enter into agreement with Famicos Foundation for the John Marshall Band Project through the use of Ward 9 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 654, 2024, by Councilmember Jones, authorizing the Director of Community Development to enter into agreement with Famicos Foundation for the public purpose of providing the food card distribution program through the use of Ward 1 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 655, 2024, by Councilmember Starr, authorizing the Director of Department of Public Works to enter into agreement with Burton Bell Car Development for the Youth Football Recreation Program through the use of Ward 5 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 656, 2024, by Councilmembers Palencia, Kelly, and Casey, authorizing the Director of Department of Community Development to enter into agreement with Famicos Foundation for the public purpose of providing the food card distribution program through the use of Wards 8, 11, and 16 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 668, 2024, by Councilmember Gray, to authorize the Director of Public Works to enter into a First Amendment to agreement with Burton Bell Car Development Corporation for the Red Dog Nation Youth Football and Tutoring Program to increase the amount to be paid from Ward 4 casino revenue funds.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Santana, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Gray.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 17 yeas.
Okay, if we got a couple of votes, if Councilman Slife, Councilwoman Spencer.
Please mark me a no on 615.
Please mark me as a no on 615.
Council President, please mark me as a no on 615 and as an abstention on 647.
Thank you. Duly noted.
615 and
647.
and 647.
Let the record reflect that.
Are we allowed to?
Please mark me as a yes.
Abstention on 647.
Yes.
No 615. You got to actually say recusal. Recusal.
Yeah. No problem.
Thank you. Let the record reflect. Call the roll on passage.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Oh, no, she has to give. Aren't those some? Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensik, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. On 6/15/2024,
3
14.
nays. 14 yeas, 3 nays.
Oh, because you didn't finish writing it. 14 yeas, 3 nays. On ordinance 647/2024, 15 yeas, 2 recusals. On all others, 17 yeas.
Thank you. First reading, emergency resolutions referred for administrative review and committee review.
Resolution 619/2024 by Council Members Polensik, Bishop, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, appointing an assessment equalization board to hear objections to estimated assessments with respect to improving Euclid Beach Boulevard and East 159th Street by design, inspection, reconstructing, repairing, and/or installing of roadways, sidewalks, driveway aprons, curbs, storm sewer structures, and other necessary appurtenances.
First reading, emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 620/2024 by Council Members Griffin, House, Jones, Jones, Bishop, McCormack, Gray, Starr, Polensik, Conwell, Hairston, Kelly, Moorer, Harsh, Santana, Spencer, Casey, and Slife, urging the Cleveland Metropolitan School District to change the name of East Professional Center to Arnold R. Pinckney Professional Center. Resolution 621/2024 by Councilmember Santana, objecting to a new C1 liquor permit at 3315 Clark Avenue. Resolution 622/2024 by Councilmember Starr, withdrawing objection to the transfer of stock of a D5J and D6 liquor permit at 921 Huron Road, first floor, basement, mezzanine, and patio, and repealing Resolution 194/2024, objecting to said transfer.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Santana, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Gray.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensik, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 17 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensik, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 17 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
We did.
Did it? Okay. Second reading, emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 161/2024 as amended by Councilmembers Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a grant agreement with Manufacturing Works to provide economic development assistance for the Cleveland Industrial Retention Initiative Program for the first half of 2024. Ordinance 166/2024 as amended by Councilmembers Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Community Development to apply for and accept grants from U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for program year 2024 under the Title I of Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 for the 2024 Federal Home Investment Partnerships Act Program, Emergency Solutions Grant Program, and Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS Program. Ordinance 241/2024 by Councilmember Conwell, changing the name of Moulton Scoutway Park in Ward 9 to Shirley Chisholm Park. Ordinance 443/2024 by Councilmembers Casey and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of constructing the Belvedere Avenue, Panna Lane, Mannering Avenue, Court Avenue, Victory Boulevard, West 50th Street, Longview Avenue, and Capitol Avenue area sewer projects, including but not limited to installing manholes and catch basins, authorizing Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more public improvement contracts to construct the improvement, authorizing the director to employ one or more professional consultants necessary to design and implement the improvement. Ordinance 446/2024 2024, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request to amend sections 535.04, 05, and 06 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, relating to water rates, affordability programs, and fees and charges for water service. Ordinance 447, 2024, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request to amend section 543.02 and 03 of the codified ordinances relating to sewage, sewerage, and service rates, fees, and charges. Ordinance 469, 2024, by Council Members Griffin, Bishop, and Hairston by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to Little Italy Redevelopment Corporation to encroach into the public right-of-way of Random Road by installing and maintaining a Guardians of Traffic Ohio historical marker. Ordinance 470, 2024, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into a ground lease with Surewex for the use and occupancy of property located at 5300 Riverside Drive for a period of 5 years with 2 5-year options to renew. Ordinance 474, 2024, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to lease certain property located at 1201 North Marginal Road to Cleveland Coordinating Committee for the COD for the purpose of operating a submarine museum and memorial for a term of 2 years with 3 1-year options to renew. Ordinance 475, 2024, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into a lease agreement with Wargo Law for the lease of space in the terminal building at Burke Lakefront Airport for operating a law firm for a period of 1 year with 3 1-year options to renew. Ordinance 476, 2024, as amended by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to employ one or more professional consultants to maintain, manage, secure, and promote city-owned properties at the North Coast Harbor and to fulfill the common area maintenance agreement with the stakeholders of North Coast Harbor. Ordinance 479, 2024, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to employ one or more professional consultants to provide website hosting services, upgrades, and/or enhancements as needed, including maintenance for a period of 3 years with 2 1-year options to renew. Ordinance 480, 2024, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more requirement contracts without competitive bidding with North Coast Process Controls for proprietary valves, actuators, appurtenances, and other components of the valve actuator systems and labor and materials needed to repair, replace, maintain, exercise, inspect, and test existing equipment. Ordinance 481, 2024, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts with various types of machines, equipment, and repair parts for the divisions of water, Cleveland Public Power, and water pollution control. Ordinance 482, 2024, as amended by Council Members McCormack, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the mayor and commissioner purchases and supplies to acquire and reconvey properties presently owned by Cleveland LD LLC and or its designee for the purpose of entering the chain of title prior to the adoption of tax increment financing legislation authorized under Section 5709.41 of the revised code. Ordinance 522, 2024, by Council Members Conwell, Bishop, Griffin, McCormack, and Santana by departmental request to supplement the codified ordinances by enacting new Section 559.248 relating to the creation of the Columbian Cultural Garden at 1325 Martin Luther King Boulevard. Ordinance 523, 2024, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to exercise the first option to renew a lease agreement with Marken Cami for the lease of office space at Burke Lakefront Airport for the operation of a software company. Ordinance 524, 2024, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into an amendment to lease agreement with Marken Cami to increase the leased premises located at Burke Lakefront Airport. Ordinance 526, 2024, by Councilmembers Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Utilities to employ one or more professional consultants to provide general training and development of employees, and to enter into a contract with the Operator Training Committee of Ohio, each for a period of 2 years with 2 one-year options to renew. Ordinance 527, 2024, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more contracts of blast-resistant trash receptacles for Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. Ordinance 529, 2024, by Council Members Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, to supplement the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, by enacting new section 347.191 and to amend sections 343.01, 11, and 345.02 relating to adult use of marijuana. Ordinance 542, 2024, as amended by Council Members McCormack, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, to amend the title, the first and second whereas clauses of sections 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Ordinance 532, 2023, and to add 2 additional whereas clauses and new sections 1A, 3A, and 3B relating to the improvement for the West Side Market, and to authorize an alternative grant agreements with Cleveland Public Market Corporation or an entity affiliated with or controlled by CPMC to provide economic development assistance for the design and construction of the improvement. Ordinance 543, 2024, as amended by Council Members McCormack, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing an additional $10 million for improvements to the West Side Market contemplated under Ordinance 532, 2023, and passed May 15, 2023. Ordinance 544, 2024, by Council Members Polensek, Bishop, Griffin, Hairston, and House Jones, to supplement Ordinance 54, 2023, to add a new section 10, to renumber existing sections 10, 11, and 12 to new sections 11, 12, and 13, relating to the development and/or purchase agreement with Turn Dev for the development and sale of real property and buildings located at 2530 to 70 Superior Avenue. Ordinance 546, 2024, by Council Members Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of City Planning to apply for and accept a grant from U.S. Department of Transportation for the 2023 Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, authorizing the Director of City Planning to enter into contracts to implement the grant, determining the method of making the public improvement of constructing safety improvements through a quick build demonstration project on St. Clair Avenue, authorizing contracts to make the improvement, to apply for and accept any gifts or grants from any public or private entity, authorizing the Commissioner of Purchases and Supplies to acquire, accept, and record real property and easements that are necessary for the improvement. Ordinance 547, 2024, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, nominating and voting on who should serve on Cuyahoga County's 911 Program Review Committee. Ordinance 548, 2024, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, approving the 911 plan of Cuyahoga County, dated March 6, 2024. Ordinance 577, 2024, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin Bishop, Griffin, and House Jones by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Works to enter into one or more agreements with changeover or its designee to allow and accept improvements to 4 tennis courts at Thurgood Marshall Recreation. Ordinance 578, 2024 by Council Members Griffin and McCormack by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to enter into one or more contracts with Global Cleveland to provide services to immigrants, refugees, international students, and new citizens of Cleveland for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew. Ordinance 581, 2024 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request to amend the title in sections 1 and 5 of Ordinance 683, 2021, and to supplement the ordinance by adding new sections 5A, 5B, and 5C relating to authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to apply for and accept funding from the Ohio Department of Transportation for the preliminary study of the Lakefront Pedestrian Bridge. Ordinance 583, 2024 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of rock salt for the Division of Streets, Department of Public Works. Ordinance 585, 2024 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to employ one or more professional consultants, computer software developers, or vendors to acquire licenses for grant management software system to manage and implement grants, including related services for the Division of Financial Reporting and Control, Department of Finance, for a period of 3 years with 2 one-year options to renew. Ordinance 592, 2024 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request to authorize the Director of Finance to enter into an amendment to a contract with ADP for licenses and services for an integrated payroll and human resources information system to extend the term of the contract for up to 1 year with 1 or more options to renew for additional total terms not to exceed 2 years. Ordinance 593, 2024, as amended by Councilmember Casey to supplement the codified ordinances by amending Section 45911 as amended related to parking infraction fines. Ordinance 595, 2024, as amended by Councilmembers McCormack, House Jones, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to enter into one or more contracts with Clutch Consulting Group for the Cleveland Mediation Center and various nonprofit organizations for the purpose of developing and implementing direct-to-housing encampment resolution practices to eliminate unsheltered homelessness in the city of Cleveland as a part of a Home for Every Neighborhood, a vision for housing our unsheltered community initiative.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Santana, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage. Seconded by Councilmember Gray.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 17 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr.
Thank you. Second reading of...
On ordinance 542, 2024, 15 yeas, 2 nays. On ordinance 543, 2024, 15 yeas, 2 nays. On ordinance 581, 2024, 16 yeas, 1 nay. On all others, 17 yeas. On 544, 2024, 16 yeas, 1 nay. On all others, 17 yeas.
Thank you. Second reading, ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 347, 2024, as amended by Councilmembers Hairston and Griffin by departmental request to supplement the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio by enacting new Title 7A, Cleveland Neighborhood Form-Based Code, which consists of chapters 3001 through 3007, and to amend section 327.01 of the codified ordinances to reference the new title 7A, Cleveland Neighborhood Form-Based Code.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Santana, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage. Seconded by Councilmember Gray.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 17 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 17 yeas.
Thank you. Second reading emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 530, 2024 by Councilmember Slife, urging the Administration's Department of Public Works Division of Recreation to improve pool policies for the benefit of resident patrons this summer. Resolution 590, 2024 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request to adopt and declare a tax budget for the City of Cleveland for the years 2025 and submit it to the County Budget Commission as required by state law, Chapter 5705 of the Revised Code. Resolution 591, 2024 by Councilmembers Conwell, Hairston, Griffin, House Jones by departmental request, appointing an assessment equalization board to hear objections to estimated assessments with respect to the creation of the University Circle Special Improvement District of Cleveland and the initial plan for public services for the district and declaring an emergency.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Santana, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage. Seconded by Councilmember Gray.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 17 yeas.
Thank you. Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 17 yeas.
Thank you. That is all of the legislation. We'll now move to introductions, and I do see a couple of people that I would like to acknowledge. First, I want to acknowledge my good friend Norm Edwards. If he could please stand. Norm Edwards, head of the Black Trades. Norm. Those long emails that you see when African Americans don't get on projects, going to the governor and president and everybody else, that's where they come from, Norm Edwards. The other person I want to acknowledge, a former business owner and Norm's right hand, Kim Bender. If he could please stand, Kim Bender. I know that you heard about the city of Buckeye, and the person that we rely on to run the city of Buckeye on day to day is Joy Johnson. If she could please stand, Joy. And then I always want to acknowledge my good friend, good friend and partner, Jerry Prim, if he could please stand. Jerry Prim. Do we have any introductions? Any more introductions? Councilman Kevin Conwell.
Thank you. I want to acknowledge a young man here. Matter of fact, he's been all over the world, and that's my other life in the entertainment field. Stand up, Rob Ward. Rob Ward, he opens up for Cat Williams on Comedy Central, and open up for Cat Williams is a big thing, man. I just watched him the other night on Netflix, and he's going to open up it's a restaurant, right? And it's called what? Like social, yeah. I better know it, man, because I know the band is gonna play there. My band will play there, And it used to be called chocolate bar. Now it's chocolate bar. So we're gonna have some good time playing. I just been going all day, Rob. So I'll sit back and I'll talk with you, and you can tell me some things about the cat. Thank you, man. Peace.
Thank you. Are there any other introductions? Seeing no other introductions, are there any announcements? Any announcements? Councilman Charles Slight. Councilman Charles Slight.
Quickly, this Saturday in Cam's Corners is the annual Huli. It's the Ward 17 Councilmatic event. Huli is Irish for party. It's an Irish festival. It's not exclusively Irish. There's other music. There's food. Main event may be Councilman Casey and me in the dunk tank if any of our colleagues are looking to take out any anger at us. 12 to 8, Cam's Corners.
Thank you, Councilman. Huli is always a good time. Any other announcements? Councilman Conwell, and then Councilwoman Moore.
Yeah, so on June 12th, Rob, you can come through. You might want to do a few things there. At Wait Over Wednesday, we will kick that off on June 12th. And matter of fact, at least 10,000 people will be there. We draw at least 10,000 people every Wednesday. And you know, my band is going to kick it, man. We're going to open it up and everything. So we'll dig that, at least 10,000. So I'll announce the chocolate bar in which you're going to open up, Rob. Just come on up, man. We kick it. We're going to have a good time. All right? June the 12th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. All right? Cool beans. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rebecca Moore.
Thank you very much. This is a big week in Ward 12. We're having a 2-night State of Ward 12 event. Back-to-back nights, Wednesday and Thursday. On the west side, we will be in Old Brooklyn at the Ariel Pearl Center at 3 p.m. On Thursday, we will be in Slavic Village at the Polish American Cultural Center, also at 6 p.m. It's the same event both nights, just more opportunities for residents to attend. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Moore. Councilwoman Spencer.
Thanks, Council President. I think most of you are familiar with the legacy and impact of Judge Raymond L. Pianka, and we are doing an honorary street designation for the late Judge Pianka on West Clinton Avenue at West 65th Street at 5:30 on Thursday, and the entire community is invited. Thank you.
Thank you. Definitely a great public servant and really left an indelible imprint on our city, so I think that is great. And then I do think, Councilman McCormick, you got a great naming coming up as well, right?
Yeah, you want to do miscellaneous?
Oh, you want to wait for miscellaneous? I'll wait till miscellaneous. Any other announcements? All right, I'll go to miscellaneous, and I'll start out with the Majority Leader, Councilman Kerry McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. President. And we're going to bring his family to council in July. But I want to thank all my colleagues for unanimously supporting Ordinance 617-2024, renaming West 31st Place in Ohio City as George Herbeck Way. For anyone that knows George, he started his career fighting to desegregate schools, churches, and other institutions in the South, moving up to Cleveland, and was an activist his entire life fighting for social justice. You will hear a lot more about him when his family is here. But he was a longtime Ohio City resident who had an incredible impact in the city of Cleveland. I will say, Mr. President, knocking on his street was the easiest door knocking I've ever done in my life. Every single house was absolutely, how can we help? We love George. He passed away a little over a year and a half ago. His wife is Stephanie Morrison Herbeck, who started Near West Theater, is on our community relations board at the city of Cleveland. Children are involved in the community as well. So he is true and true. You know, he's got the receipts of his activism and social justice for decades in the South as well as here in Cleveland. Truly someone who did God's work, and I'm sure is continuing to do it in heaven, Mr. President. So I just want to thank everyone's support for voting for this resolution. I hope to have the signs by next month that we can present to his wife and his family as well. But I don't do a lot of these street namings. I've probably done 2 in my career. This is probably number 2. But really, he is someone who incredibly deserves this recognition. And the Ohio City community, I know the entire city community misses him as well, but really excited to create this name recognition. I'll tell you this, in the humility of his family, they were truly blown away when I asked their permission to do this, and kind of like, didn't want the attention, and in a very, a humble way way, but finally allowed their pushy councilman to name the street after him. So I want to thank you all and look forward to celebrating him in July. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Mr. Herbeck was a great man, and his wife is a great servant as well. I think we have Councilwoman House Jones.
Yes, I just wanted to take a moment to thank my colleagues for your support of the Resolution 620-2024. This is a resolution urging our CMSD school district to rename East Professional Center the Arnold Pinckney Professional Center. I know many people are familiar with him, but there are other people that are coming into life that have no idea who Mr. Pinckney is. And as we think about paying homage to a man who has given so much to not only our Cleveland schools to be in a position to where they are, I bet you as they are trying to run this levy right now, they'll definitely be looking for somebody like a Mr. Pinckney to run that campaign. But, they're definitely just having a man who has definitely invested in a lot of people here in our community, supporting people through and through to participate in our political process, and just being a person who just loves people. I'm looking forward to giving this to the school board, and I know there will be many more words, but I just would be remiss if I just didn't take this time to thank you all. It has been just over 10 years since his passing. It's amazing how time really flies, but having this moment to have a moment to pay homage to him, I know his family and many community members would be very appreciative, and so I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you.
Thank you. And Councilwoman, I want to thank you because that man meant a lot to me, and he meant a lot to the people in this room. So I'm glad that you were able to support that. So thank you so much. I think I have Councilman Joseph Jones. Or Councilman Joseph Jones?
Yep, I'll raise it.
Councilman Joseph Jones has asked for extra time.
Mr. Chairman, I've pondered about what I would say this evening, because a lot of times we hear about all the problems and all the complaints during the time of the public. And we know that there's a lot of issues in the city of Cleveland. And I have my fair share of issues in Ward 1. Over the weekend, we had over 500 cars in our shopping plaza doing spinouts. And this was a situation where, unfortunately, they smashed Dave's Supermarket. And we were talking today about deserts, food deserts in our neighborhoods. And the reason why we don't have the opportunity to get the kind of investments we need in our neighborhoods is sometimes we have some people who really act out of absolutely stupidity that causes for our communities to be ranked in such a way where people don't want to make the investments. But what I will say on a lighter note is that we have a new commander. He's on it. And I'm appreciative that we have a new commander. So it gives us some sense of light and some sense of hope. And when I sat at the table today, we talked about a number of initiatives and issues. And one of them was about finance and campaign finance and reform, and some of the initiatives that were put in place years ago by people who wanted to have control over city government and control over the mayor's office. And so at the end of the time, they put these measures in place that prevented us and did not allow us to be able to raise certain funds. But we see that none of these such limits are anywhere in Cuyahoga County. We're the only city in the city of Cleveland that has limitations on how much money we can raise. And Mr. Chairman, given the fact that we see Citizens United brought on a federal level where people can pretty much raise extreme amounts of monies for campaigns or for campaign causes, the city of Cleveland should not be limited to being able to raise funds to be able to participate in the political process. And Mr. Chairman, I rise because I'm not the type of person that likes to have any limitations. I believe if I'm going to be in this thing called politics, I should not be limited like Shaker Heights is not limited on their fundraising. Maple Heights, Garfield, Warrensville, any city in Cuyahoga County has no limitations. I do believe also, Mr. Chairman, that we should pay our people for what they're worth. And I'm thankful that we have a lot of professionals here in the city of Cleveland who are being paid for what they're worth. I also believe, Mr. Chairman, that the people who work for us in city council and on the administrative side should also understand the frustrations that come from the council and be willing to serve us in every step of the way. And some people, Mr. Chairman, even in the chambers of council, gets an attitude when they need to serve us, and they have flippant mouths. And I see this sometimes, and I kind of ignore it because I know that many of us are under pressure. But as a public servant, Mr. President, I'm here to serve my public and to super serve them. And I make no qualms about that. When it comes to taking care of my citizens in my neighborhood, I'm going to go above and beyond. When they call me, I'm at their house. I'm taking photos, and I'm sending that information over. So when I need assistance from the council side and people who have flippant mouths, I have a problem with that. And I have a problem, Mr. Chairman, because they fail to understand that they're serving public servants who are serving the public, and that they should have sensitivities built in. And if they don't have them built in, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to say they shouldn't be doing the job. They shouldn't be doing the work. And when I go and talk to one person and I'm talking to that person, then that's my conversation with that person and no one else. And these people know who I'm talking about, and at some point, I'm going to really let them have it. But I had enough. When I come down here, I don't come down here to kiss nobody's behind or shine anybody's shoes. I came down here to work for these people and to fight for them. And I love my senior citizens, Mr. Griffin. So when they want something, they need something, I'm there for them. I love my senior citizens. And then when it comes to the politics of the table, when there was the talk about downsizing Cleveland City Council, I just didn't sit to the side and didn't do anything about it. I got involved because I was concerned. And I was concerned because they were going to shut down council in such a way which would have made it almost like an apartheid state in the city of Cleveland, where there were only going to be 3 black council members, 1 downtown council member, and 5 council members on the west side. So it wouldn't have mattered who became the mayor of the city of Cleveland. At the end of the day, blacks would have lost all of that strength and power that we have fought for with Congressman Louis Stokes, Carl Stokes, and the setting and establishment of doing something that's important to represent our people. And so what I would come down to at the conclusion of it all, Mr. President, is to simply say this. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of fences to build, a lot of bridges to build, and a lot of work to talk about how we improve the educational process in the city of Cleveland. And some of those who don't want to support education in the city of Cleveland, I would say this to you, on these levies, we have to, like Arnold Pinckney did, and I'm glad Stephanie House talked about this a little bit, he was about education. Any great city that is going to have a future has to invest into its young people, has to invest into its businesses. And investing in our young folks and investing in our education matters. So, Mr. President and Mr. Mayor, I support the levy. I know that some of the issues that are happening right now in terms of there being a deficit is to no fault of the own of those young folks who are in those school systems. It is the fault of the previous system that was in place. And they have inherited that. But when you see those 3 young ladies who stood here on this council floor that talked about they want to be and have an education but was in fear of going to the schools, we should take a look at that. We should be serious about looking at that, and we should take that seriously, that we have to take care of all of our young folks on the west side and the east side. And Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that. Thank you for allowing me extra time.
Thank you so much, Councilman. Before we adjourn to the call of the chair, I do want to make it very clear, even though we are adjourning, we are just about to begin our work. We will not be on vacation. I urge everybody to be out there in those neighborhoods, to really work with people out in these communities. As Councilman Jones just said, we love our folks, we love our community, no matter what race, color, ethnicity, creed, gender, or whatever they are. We really need to make sure that we always recognize that we're here to serve the people of Cleveland. I also do want to thank you guys. This was a tough semester. This may have been one of the tough semesters of government that I've ever experienced. And I want to thank you all for your patience, your diligence, and most of all, your fortitude and willing to love and support the people of Cleveland. So once again, this council meeting is called to order by the chair, and we will reconvene in July. Thank you. West side. We got some stuff. We got a few things. All right. We'll talk. All right.